Let me ask you a question because you're smart and I respect your opinion. How did a dusty old grandpappy car brand make one of the sickest burnout machines of all time and in the process completely redeem themselves? It came as a sedan. Came as a coupe. Turn down your freaking hearing aids, daddy. It came as the most badass American wagon of all time. Go tell Pappy to hand you his crusty handkerchief because you're gonna get a case of the mouth triples. This is everything you need to know to get up to speed on the Cadillac CTS-V. Big thank you to Keeps Hair Loss Prevention for sponsoring this episode of Up to Speed. Believe me when I tell you that 2 out of every 3 guys will experience some form of male pattern baldness by the time they hit 35. I've done my own research around the office, and I know there's some potential baldies walking around. Maybe Nolan, I'm not saying anything, but prevention is key, my sweet baby boy. The sooner you start using Keeps, the more hair you'll save, so hurry up! And lucky for you, with Keeps, you can visit a doctor online and get hair loss medication delivered to your door. If you're ready to take action and prevent hair loss, go to keeps.com/uptospeed50 to receive 50% off your first order. KEEPS.com/uptospeed50. The easiest way to support Donut is to support our sponsors. Just click on that link, it really helps us out. Now, back to the show. A lot was happening in 2004. Baby Geniuses 2, Super Babies, was melting all of our little hearts. The New England Patriots had just won their 3rd Super Bowl. Colby likes that. And Suburban Mall shoe retailer, Just for Feet, closed its doors forever. It was a dark time. But in the wake of that darkness came an unsuspecting white knight rolling in on a 4-wheel steed, destined to shine some light on sad people all over the country. And what was that white knight? Cadillac. And that 4-wheeled steed? The CTS. The CTS was Cadillac's replacement for the Catera, a German-built sedan that looked like a neon and was shipped over to the US and rebadged as a Caddy. My stepmom's mom had one. She's my step-grandma. You remember the advertisements, it's the Caddy that zigs.
Catera, the Caddy that zigs.
The good old boys and girls at GM wanted to bring the 4-door sedan and making biz back to the US, and the CTS was the model to do it with. And they did so with a freaking bang. Priced as a compact but built as a midsize, the new CTS aimed at taking some sales away from similarly spec'd Beamers and Benzes. It was also the first sedan from Cadillac in a very long time to be offered with a manual transmission. The last one was the 1988 Cimarron. Now this was perfect for those mommies and daddies who wanted to roll through the gears after a day of doing grown-up crap that sucks, you know? Like having kids. Now, it didn't take long, but like that creepy magician who was at your best friend's 10th birthday party, Cadillac had a trick up their sleeve. Just 1 year after its initial model release, the big guns were brought out and a V8 was put under the hood of the mid-size sedan. Now they called their new buff creation the CTS-V, but it wasn't just any V8. That would be lazy. Instead of lazy, they decided to be crazy, baby. They took the power plant out of the C5 Z06 Corvette, a 5.7 liter, 400 horsepower V8. That's right, this pupster got the LS treatment with 395 pound-feet of twerks. It got cruising from a standstill to 60 in 5.3 seconds and busted out the quarter mile in the high 13s. This all-new Cadillac wasn't what your grandpops had in mind when he went to buy Nana a new round-town cruiser. Many a pappy almost gave their wives Depends bottom attacks when giving them a spin around the block. Built by the GM Performance Division for Cadillac, the CTS-V was the first car in a series of V cars that are still being built today. A luxury muscle car built on American soil, this new V took aim at the German-built BMW M5, Audi S6, and Mercedes-AMG E-Series. After years of getting its ass stomped by them schnitzel boys, this ballpark Frank American was ready to squirt some mustard. four-door Z06, as some called it, had more than just a big beefy motor stuffed under the hood. It got a Tremec T56 6-speed manual transmission, also from the Z06. It got independent rear suspension. It got 4-piston Brembos with 14-inch rotors, and it got 18-inch wheels. This car was the real freaking deal. It was the talk of the town and the belle of the ball. The USA finally had an answer to the Bavarian boys across the pond. And that answer was you. Straight up, I don't give a about you guys. You. That's what he said. And it looks sick too. The body got a more aggressive look with a stainless mesh grille and buff looking aero stuff. It made the car freaking chisel. Inside, the V got a different instrument cluster. It got better seats and a very long throw shifter. Compared to typically early 2000s GM interior standards, this one had a really, really nice interior. And while it wasn't necessarily the fastest of the bunch compared to other high performance four doors, it did what GM wanted it to do. It got fire-blooded youngsters all hopped up on the mothball brand. This was the beginning of a new era for GM luxury cars. Now the foundation for this series of cars was laid, and it didn't let down. Case in point, a trip around the Nürburgring. The first gen CTS-V got around the 12.9 mile long course in 8 minutes, 19 seconds. Now to put that into perspective, the M5 completed it in 8:20. Considering GM's flagship sports car of the time, the C5 Z06 did it only 20 seconds faster. The big, bulky four-door V showed that it had some wings. Now let's say that you're a Beamer boy. You probably know that the M in M3, 4, 5, whatever, stands for motorsport. If you're an Audi file, you know that S stands for sport. And if you're a Benz baby, I'm sure that you know that AMG stands for Aufrecht, Melcher, and Gruppenspacht. The German brands have some meaning behind the naming of their performance divisions. So if you're curious what the V stood for, it's not victory, it's not Vette, it's not velocity. Those all would have been very cool. But the truth is that Cadillac hired focus groups to research what letter they should add to the end of their 3-letter namesake. And V was deemed to be both unique and elegant. It's a very boring story, but it's the truth. And a lot of times the truth is boring. But history is written by those with power. And since I have the most power, baby, from this day forward, tell your friends that the V stands for vroom. 04 CTS Vroom was also the car that marked Cadillac's return to racing. Now, you're like, what? Cadillac was in racing? Yes, they were. The V wasn't the luxury brand's first race car. Going all the way back to 1949, a guy named Paul Russo won the Milwaukee 100 stock car race in a Cadillac Series 62. Now fast forward to 2004, the CTS-V raced in the SCCA World Challenge GT Championship. Now in the 4 seasons that it raced, it won the manufacturer championship, a driver championship, 10 overall wins, 7 pole positions, and 36 podium finishes. I just changed my mind. The V now stands for victory. While the first gen CTS-V had a ton of upside, it also had a few parts. The first being exploding differentials. You don't want your differential exploding. Second, while the sports suspension used on the car created great handling, it was really, really harsh on everyday roads. It created a very un-Cadillac feel. But when you're trying to go after a younger crowd, lush floating on clouds suspension isn't priority number 1. So screw that. I've ruined all of my cars with upgraded suspension. Now finally, and probably most importantly, the car was slightly worse than its competition. It wasn't as fast, it wasn't as nice, and while it was still $20,000 cheaper, people still noticed. So, playing second fiddle to the Germans was not a thing that the GM Performance Division wanted to do. So they went back to the drawing board to step it up a notch with a few goals in mind. The first being a car with a little bit more. I just need a friend. Can you guys help me out?
Mr. President, what do you need?
I need a car with a little bit more.
More power, baby. More power, baby. More power, baby. More power, baby.
A little bit more.
More power, baby.
A little bit more.
More power, baby.
More power, baby. More power, baby.
Say mo. Power. Baby.
Thanks, it's just not the same. The kids were cute though. And back to the drawing board, they did went. The second gen CTS-V came to the scene in 2009, feeding those four-door performance luxury fans some more power, baby. This time around, it got a supercharged 6.2 liter V8, the LSA. Building on the success from the previous gen, Cadillac used a detuned version of the Corvette ZR1's power plant. With a 1.9 liter, 4-lobe Eaton supercharger, the car busted out 556 horsepower. That's 40% more than the previous gen. The new V, vroom, from 0 to 60 in 3.9 seconds with a quarter-mile time of 12.6 in a freaking Cadillac. And while most other performance sedans were limiting their top speeds to a I said it, 155 miles per hour, the CTS-V didn't do any of that bogus baloney. If you're feeling frisky, you can push this bad boy up to 191 miles per. Why? I don't care. It's sick! The new V also got magnetic ride suspension. With a push of a button, you can turn your classic cloud riding grocery go-getter to a 4-door hot riding track machine. Going back to our litmus test of performance, the new CTS-V got around the infamous Nürburgring in a blistering 7 minutes, 59 seconds. Now, how good is that? Well, not only was it 20 seconds faster than the previous one, at the time, it set the fastest lap at the Nürburgring for any production sedan ever. Let's call a record, baby. Differential nightmares that plagued the early first-gen cars were now a thing of the past. The new V got asymmetrical drive shafts connected to a beefed-up differential and rear subframe. This new, tougher rear end and subframe got rid of shuddering and axle hop when taken off from a standstill. And this was also the first time you could get a V with an optional 6-speed automatic with paddle shifters, you know, your baby. With Brembo brakes, better cooling, an aluminum hood, and an even more aggressive styling, the CTS-V was a certified slapper, back to back. Sophomore album's better than the rookie one. At $60K, it was still $20,000 less than an M5 and $30,000 less than an E63 AMG. You can't afford not to buy one. The only thing that could make this new generation V sweeter would be some body style variations. Now, the second generation was the first time that we got to see the CTS-V in coupe form and sport wagon. The Corvette S Coupe and sport wagon on steroids widened Cadillac's appeal to young buyers. You could only get the V-Wagon from 2011 to 2014, and manual versions of these cars are at a premium these days. You can't find them for cheap. Probably because it's the last time you'll ever see a manual wagon from GM or honestly, most manufacturers. In the true spirit of going bigger and better, the third and final generation of the V got equipped with the most powerful production engine ever offered in a General Motors vehicle. The 6.2 liter supercharged LT4 put out 640 horsepower. That's only 11 fewer than a Ferrari Enzo. 2019 marked the end of an era for the CTS-V. In fact, the CTS isn't going to be available at all. The V will live on in other future Cadillac products, but at least for now, it won't bear the CTS name. Now, we didn't even talk about the XLR-V, the STS-V, or the ATS-V during this episode. Now, if you're a daddy that's a fan of those buff caddies, you have the CTS victory to thank.
Power, baby? No. More power, baby!
And more power, baby! More power, baby!
More power, baby! More power, baby! More power, baby! More power, baby! More power, baby! More power, baby!
More power, baby! I love you.